really, really good.
Here we are.
Awesome. Hey, hello, and welcome VCU alumni around the country and around the world. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Greg Burton. I'm with the VCU Center for Sport Leadership, which is ranked top 10 in the world among graduate sports management programs. And I'm excited to be the moderator for our chat with VCU men's basketball coach, Mike Rhoades. Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you, Greg?
Doing great. Thanks so much. Folks may or may not know, Coach Rhoades is a proud VCU alum, like so many of you watching, earning his master's degree from our program back in 2002. Mike, who knew that it would be?
It's a while ago, Greg. It's a while ago.
That's awesome. Hey, before we get started, you can send Coach a question by posting it in the comments section, and we'll do our best to get it to him. And then certainly if you enjoy our chat today, we want to encourage you to hit the like button, leave a comment, any sort of engagement to let you know that you enjoyed it, and we'll try to plan some more like this. But I'm going to get things started before we jump into some fan questions. And Coach, I think maybe we should start back to, it might have been the last time I saw you, and that was courtside at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. A very, very surreal feeling. Take us back to that day and sort of what it's been like for the last, 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, what a change. What a surreal change from 20 some seconds on the warm-up clock. Players ready to come over to give our handshakes and hugs to get ready to play UMass in the A10 tournament. And Ed McLaughlin, our director of athletics, is sitting there, and I said, I guess we're playing. Let's go. And a couple seconds later, administrator from the conference office comes out in the court and says it's canceled. And we went from the excitement and the intensity ready to go to it's over, it's done. And, what I was most proud of it being so surreal, Greg, was how our guys handled it. Once we realized that we're done, the guys started messing with the band, with the Peppas, and we were showing our appreciation, and we went to the locker room. It was a little, it was tough because our 5 seniors, we having 5 seniors move on, our seniors that were there, there was some tears, there was a lot of hugs, and it was great to see our guys show affection and how much they appreciated each other in the locker room. And we knew it was done. We got back to the hotel, flew out that night, and now we've been bunkered down like everybody else in the world, and we're all trying to do our part. Can't hear you.
Coach, what are some of the methods that you and your staff have been using to stay in touch with all of your guys and make sure y'all stay connected?
Yeah, the one great thing of now that we all can use the positives of technology is we can stay in touch with our guys 24/7, from text messaging to phone calls to FaceTime to Zoom meetings to all types of meetings. It's been great that way. Everybody's at home except 2 of our seniors, Cory Douglas and Marcus Santos Silva, are in their apartments in Richmond. And so we've been just staying in touch as a staff that way. And I look forward to Sunday nights. We have a big Zoom team meeting where we get ready for the week academically and talk about a bunch of different things, but just checking in with our guys all the time. And there's so many different ways to do that now. If this was 20 years ago, man, we'd be all on our own, probably writing letters to each other. So it's been great that, with the technology we have, we can really stay in touch with our guys.
Yeah. And sadly, what has unfolded around our country and around the world with the pandemic has touched your VCU basketball family. We know a lot of people are aware of Justin Tillmans' situation. You have a graduate assistant who lost a family member. This is obviously hit close to home for a lot of people, and certainly VCU basketball is part of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, this pandemic and this virus, it's not stopping to who you are or where you're from. It's everywhere, and unfortunately, Justin got back from Israel. As soon as he got back from Israel, both his parents were in the hospital, and his mother is still in the hospital, and she's fighting really hard. And here you are, 24 years old, with this pandemic, getting out of a country to get back home, and both parents are in the hospital. And I've been in touch with Justin a bunch, and his teammates have, and we're here to support him. And a lot of VCU people have been supporting him in different ways, and we appreciate that greatly. He's hanging in there. He's doing the best that he can. under the circumstances, and it's not easy for anybody, but to be 25, to lose a dad, and trying to, make sure mom's holding in there. It's been tough, but we're really proud of how he's hanging in there, and we all got his back, Greg.
Yeah, no question about it. I know a lot of VCU basketball folks have come to help Justin. If you want to send us a question, you can leave it in the comment section. We're going to start answering some of those. Coach, can you talk a little bit about what the weeks at the conclusion of the season are normally like, and now what you're doing sort of since the season has ended, obviously with all of our restrictions and all of us trying to be socially responsible?
Right. Well, with all the sports, I guess at the end of the year, I mean, of course, we missed the playoffs and not having March Madness, but of all the sports, basketball is sort of the one where it was going to finish up, and this is the time period where everyone's decompressing, coaches jump right into recruiting, the players are sort of mending their bodies, resting their bodies, spending time in the training room, a lot of postseason evaluations of your body and making sure you're getting that right, and then really, stressing the academics into the finish of the spring semester. So that didn't change. The difference is guys are at home now, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to. But now it's just the emphasis has been on academics. You go from no online classes, maybe 1 to 4, and for all our guys, all students all over the country, it's been a huge adjustment. And, we're making sure we're emphasizing the academics. And then what we're telling our guys while they're at home, try to get in the best routine you can. I send them motivational stuff every other day. Try to tell them to get in a routine. But compared to what our season would be right now, we would be really in individual development, 1 and 2 man groups with the coaches, and hitting the weight room, trying to get bigger and stronger, and mending our bodies and trying to finish up the semester academically on the right foot.
Coach, how are you handling recruiting? Obviously, the NCAA has put some restrictions and guidelines in place. How are you dealing with sort of the virtual recruiting?
Yeah, creatively, without a doubt. We went from being in their high school gym to going to home visits and recruits' homes with their families. Spending, meeting high school coaches, any of you coaches when you're on the road, to getting in front of a screen just like this and presenting your program and your staff and your team and talking them through virtual presentations, and as we're calling them, virtual visits. That's been the big thing on social media, and just doing a lot of this right here, a lot of questions and answers with recruits and their families and their coaches, and getting them to see, not just hearing on the phone, but seeing faces, putting faces to names and to how we do things and all that stuff. So it's been what I've loved about that part of it is our staff has been very creative on how to go about it. Last night, we just got on Zoom with a mother and a recruit, and we just, shooting the breeze for 20 minutes. That was it. And, but it was our whole staff instead of just one guy on the phone. So trying to be as creative as possible with that. And you got to do what you got to do and make the best of it.
This is actually a good time to filter in a fan question, because it's right along those same lines. Matt Apicella asked, what are you hearing from parents as a result of the pandemic? Are some that are maybe a little further away reluctant to send their kids across the country? Has it shifted to a more local recruiting strategy? How has that maybe changed your philosophy or game plan?
No, not at all. I think it's more the building the relationship part and showing them how we do things, I think, is going to be the positive in all of this. The hands-on that the head coach has, as well as the assistants with our players. And we had one parent ask us how we're handling the pandemic with our players, and we went through sort of our weekly and our daily plan, our weekly plan, what we're doing as a staff, and she was very impressed about how organized we are. And as I told her, the number one thing of all of this is the safety of our players. Well, that's been my number one prerogative with our players for 24 years, is we're going to make sure they're safe, they're healthy, and they have, their wellness. Those are most important. That doesn't change. Maybe it heightens a little bit more, but that's one thing I told the mother, and she was very, she was very happy and appreciative of that response. And I think that helps us. That's the mentality we've always had. That's the mentality I've always had. Though I don't think it's going to change in players looking, geographically, I don't think that's going to change because they're still going to jump in AAU season when they're 12, 13, and 14 and go all over the world, Greg, or all over the country. So nobody's afraid to go away from home. I'm not sure this will change anything.
Great. Dave Wainwright, longtime VCU fan, asks, when are we going to see another Power 5 school come to the Siegel Center?
Well, you know what we did beat his. I think Dave's second favorite team is the LSU Tigers. So we're working on it, Dave, without a doubt. And I know, like you and so many of your peers and our players, we're trying. We thought we had one a couple of weeks ago, and it fell through with dates. And we want to try to do that every year. We have UNLV coming with the Mountain West Challenge, so that'd be cool. And that's a basketball tradition, school. But we're trying without a doubt. It's not for the lack of effort. Our Jimmy Martelli that does our scheduling, Dave, is working extremely hard. I'm on the phone all the time with coaches, so we're trying to figure that out all the time. When you beat somebody like LSU and some other teams that we've done, it's harder and harder to get them in there. Our administration understands that well, and we're trying for it. As you guys all know me, I'll play anybody anytime, and we want to get those games. So we're trying our hardest.
I love it. Great stuff. From Judy Sneed, she's asking about Vince and Cory and their injuries that they had at the end of the season. How are they going? How is treatment? Is treatment at all hampered by COVID-19 and the restrictions?
No, I think both of them. Great question, Judy. I think our guy, those two guys specifically, are doing a great job. Cory, right after we got back from the A10 tournament, the following week, Cory got surgery on his foot. We thought it was going to be a really deep, invasive type of surgery, and it was not as bad as the doctors or our trainer Dennis Williams thought. He's recovering. He's already has weight on it. He's doing some working out. So we're really excited for him to get back to where we want him and need him to be. Vince's Achilles is doing a lot better. He is doing some running right now, some sprinting. He's back at home with Toledo, and his mom and dad are pushing him. I think he wants to get back to VCU pretty soon because the rehab's been tough by mom and dad. Vince is doing, Cory is doing on-campus rehab with Dennis Williams, our trainer, which is great because Cory's right there. And Vince is doing virtual rehabbing with a rehab specialist up in Toledo. So they're on top of it. They're doing a great job talking to them all the time. I talked to Cory last night. He said he has no pain at all, which is huge because for the last year, he was dealing with a lot of pain.
Hey, since you mentioned Cory, Cory is going to be earning his graduate degree from the VCU Center for Sport Leadership next year. And really, really impressed with Cory. I think people probably only know a very, very small part of his story, Mike. He is a very impressive young man. Yeah,
he is. What a great representative of not just our program, but VCU. And I recruited Cory out of Louisville, Kentucky. He went to Fork Union, and he was about 6'5", 6'6", about 170 pounds. And now he's right at 6'9", about 220. But what a oldest kid in a family of four boys. And he's just, he's a leader. He leads by example. He's an unbelievable teammate, but quality student athlete. You got yourself a really good one in the CSL for sure. And he is right now, he's trying to finish strong here because he thinks he's going to get a 4.0. And he's fired up. He's got a week and a half here of classes and a couple of exams, and he's shooting for a 4.0. And he was a great student at Rice. And then, to get him here at VCU, he's done a great job. And he's a great example. His leadership skills of he and Marcus Santos Silva this year really going to help our young guys and the new guys coming in. I'm really excited to watch these guys lead. Great transition here. We'll segue since you mentioned some of the younger guys. I think we all know the leap that players can make from that freshman year to sophomore year. So Catherine Hancock wants to know what kind of jump do you think Bones will make from freshman to sophomore, and what it'll look like in the fall? Yeah, well, I think all those rising sophomores, we need them to make a big jump. We all want him to, led by Bones for sure. We all saw how talented of a player he is, especially with the ball in his hands and shooting the basketball. And the tough thing with Bones not being here, Daniel Roos, our strength coach, can't work on his body every single day. And we can't make sure he's eating at a high championship level. But we're talking to him every day, communicating with. I'm not worried about Bones having a ball in his hands while he's at home, and he'll find places to work on his game. The next step for all of our rising sophomores is just add incredible discipline to their lives and to their workout routine and to the daily discipline of getting better every day, which is the biggest thing from being a freshman to a sophomore, where you could take your biggest jump is you have a year of experience under your belt of what it takes to be a championship level student athlete. And, that is our biggest, not even an issue in a negative way, but our biggest trait that we need to make sure our guys really improve with the discipline and the work ethic. And when we get them back here, we'll go right to work with all of that. And but Bones, we need Bones and Trey and Jaron and Hassan to take huge jumps, because they're going to be a big part of what we do this year.
There's no question. And I know you're developing individual plans for all those guys, both on and off the court. And then their position coaches are sort of working with them to make sure that they're improving in those areas.
Yeah. And, they all have a weight program while they're at home. And we communicate with them all the time. For example, Big B, Brent Scott, our big man coach, he talks to the big man players every day, just checking in with them, seeing what we're doing. The one thing I want our guys to do every day is sweat, and you go for a run, lift, get the ball in your hands. You can always work on your handle in your garage or out on the pavement. We've all done that as kids. Why not do it at 20 years old? Just trying to get better all the time, but doing something every day to make yourself a little bit better and follow the plan. We talk about it all the time.
Again, if you want to ask Coach a question, just leave it in the comment section, and we're working our way through them. And a guy that you know really well, Coach, Manny Juranis, is already looking ahead to the trip to Baton Rouge, and he wants to know what you want the Rhodes Warriors to dress up as for the LSU game in Baton Rouge.
Manny has too much time on his hands right now, so he's probably been trying on all different types of costumes over the last month. So, Manny, you're on your own there. I don't get involved in costumes. That's not my game. We want them. I'm sure they'll be on the plane ready to go. But whatever you surprise us with, I'm sure will be high level on the front page of ESPN and CBS and everything else. So it will be interesting to see. So those guys are unbelievable, and they're become friends of our program. But when you talk about fans that are all in, win, loss, road games, home games, whatever it is, Manny and his crew and those guys, they're all in, and you love fans like that.
No question. Manny and Brian Kern, Gary Watkins, that whole crew. Can't wait to sit back courtside there at the Siegel Center. So this is a good one from Jeff Beck, who says, what's a similarity between 24/7 coaching and 24/7 parenting?
Ooh, Jeff, that's a great question. And, I think both of them, you're just always on, right? I mean, especially now where you can't really, you can't go to work to get a break from your kids, and you can't go home to get a break from your players. Right now we're all in. We're all in. So I just think, as a parent, as a coach, you want to make sure your day is going the right way. And then I always say, no matter what happens, never too high or never too low. Figure it out. And we're doing that. We're all doing that here during this stay-at-home time. We're all trying to figure it out, and let's not get too high. Let's not get too low. And as I always say, even as a coach, you got to find an outlet, right? And you got to find an outlet. For us, sometimes it's taking the dogs for a walk or going for a run. Even in the middle of the day as a coach, you're watching tape all day. You work with your players. You get ready for practice. You might have to take 30 minutes to find a break. And that's not a bad thing. I think that's a mentally healthy thing to do. So, I always advise people, never too high, never too low. Find some outlets. And, at night, Greg, we were talking about it. I never watch Netflix. One of my outlets now is watching some of these movies with my wife, and we're watching Ozark right now. We watched the crazy Tiger King stuff, but now we watch an Ozark, and that's a great, 45 minutes, hour show at night to just let everything go and settle in and watch that. Sometimes it's with a Yingling lager, sometimes it's with a red wine. That's your choice of preference. But that I think you just got to find that balance every day. Coaching and parenting are very similar. You got to get things done every day, and you got to have a great balance of getting through the day.
I will say I talked to you last week, and I couldn't believe what you told me you were doing with your son Logan, which I guess you're doing a bunch of. Do you want to tell them what you were doing?
Doing a little fishing. Yes, where we live, there's a pond about 400 yards from our house. Nothing crazy, but there's fish in there. And my son's been going down there a bunch, just fishing by himself. So I've gone with him a few times. Chase has gone. My youngest son's gone with us, and Logan's not too happy right now because last week, Greg, when we weren't even there 5 minutes, my second cast on the water, and I caught this 4-pound bass. And each week it's getting a little bit bigger. But my son, who's this great fisherman and loves it, he just didn't think that was fair. I didn't pay my dues, as he said. So, but that's been a lot of fun. That's been a good outlet just to get outside. And I get my sunflower seeds and my iced tea and sit on the dock and see if we can catch something.
I love it. That's great. Let's go back to the questions. Oh, this is awesome. This is a VCU alum in Los Angeles, Robert Siegel. Any plans to come out west? A lot of VCU alums out there in LA and Southern California.
Absolutely. We've talked about some tournaments out there, Robert, without a doubt. I've even talked to Ed McLaughlin, our director of athletics, and we've looked at some things like that. There's a couple events out there that you would play some neutral games, which is going to become bigger and bigger now with Power Fives going to 20 games and looking for opportunities to play those type of teams would be in more neutral events. So definitely next year, not this year coming up, but the following year, we have to go out west to the Mountain West for the Mountain West Challenge. We will play on the road. So we will play somewhere there. What we're looking at is possibly playing a Mountain West team on their court, and why we're still on that trip doing a West Coast swing and trying to play a neutral game. So stay tuned. As I always say, in scheduling is never it's always in pencil, it's never in ink. Because things are so fluid, and one team will say, yeah, we'll play, and they'll call you back 40 minutes or 40 hours later and say, it fell through, coach, we don't have that date anymore. So we're really trying to do that. If we can make a West Coast swing, I think a lot of you and your VCU alums will love that as well.
Tracy Katz also had a scheduling question. She said, how about a Martelli home and away? I think she's talking about Michigan. But I know you guys do lean on relationships as it pertains to setting up the schedule.
Well, I always think there's I'll say it how I usually feel. There's a lot of BS in scheduling. So you want to deal with people you really know, that you have friendships with and relationships with, so you're going to get the honest approach. We could call somebody that's a buddy of mine and no, we're not playing you guys. No chance. We're not playing a home and home with you. But you also talk to some guys and say, yeah, you know what? Let's try to work that out and go from there. So the relationship stuff, Greg, definitely helps. Tracy, great question. We're always calling our friends. One good thing is we have a staff that's been through this for many years. So we have a lot of relationships, and that has helped us at least open doors to scheduling. That would be really cool to get Michigan home and home. We'll try it. I think Jimmy already has, and I don't think it's got anywhere, but we'll keep trying it. So maybe if we tell Jimmy he's not showing up for Big Phil's birthday next year, maybe we'll get somewhere. I don't know. We'll try anything.
Rodney Harry asked a question that's probably better suited for Ed McLaughlin and Tim Lampy: a possibility that the Siegel Center will ever be enlarged. It's a great atmosphere already. Yeah. I know that.
Without a doubt. That's a facilities question with Lampy and Ed administration. To me, I think with these times right now, Greg, I don't think you'll see much expanding of many arenas or stadiums and all that stuff for quite some time. I think we need to sort of get our finger on the pulse of all of what's going to happen now once we get out of this pandemic and go from there. So, the one thing about VCU, if we build it, they will come. That's not an issue for us. So that's more a question directed to them. But if we got more seats, I know we'd fill them up. What I love about the Siegel Center now is right below 8,000 people. There are fans. The other team only gets about 40 in there, and it is such a home court advantage. And I think that's great. And when you look up and you're a recruiter, you're a player, and you look up and you see no seats are empty, that's a big deal. That's a big advantage.
No question. Brian Kuiper, huge VCU fan.
Yeah.
He said, bigger contribution from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Lebanon bologna or birch beer?
Lebanon bologna, without a doubt. I have some in my fridge right now. Not even close. Not even close.
It is exceptional.
And there's so many ways you can fix that up. You know what I mean? There's so many ways.
You're a fried bologna guy?
Oh, am I fried bologna guy? I mean, what else is there? What else is there? So I had that on Sunday. I made that. You know, some of my boys like it. My daughter likes it too. But they know that that's Jody and I love that. So that's backyard material right there, Greg.
Awesome. Dave wants to know what you think about a potential 20-game conference schedule. I know that there was an article recently, an interview with A10 Commissioner Bernadette McGlade about that very topic. What do you think about 20 games in conference?
Yeah, it's being discussed. It's being discussed. Me personally, I'd rather stay at 18 because we want to, you know, the one thing that VCU has done for a long time, even before I was assistant with Chuck, is VCU has always been creative in their scheduling and playing some great non-conference games and a great non-conference schedule. I want us to have that ability to be creative in our scheduling. I think since we've been in the A10, Shaka, Will, and our staff, we've done a really good job of scheduling a great non-conference and taking, you know, a couple of games away and losing those options. I don't think that helps VCU. So, but you know, that's a conference thing. That's what the commissioner and the presidents and the athletic directors, and then no matter what happens as the coaches, you got to figure it out and continue to do what we do.
Great stuff. All right. This is from another great VCU Ram who's so dedicated to helping our university in so many ways. Timmy Wynn, who's recovering from some shoulder surgery.
What's up, Timmy?
Okay.
He's the best. He's the best.
He might be texting with one hand. In a pickup game, you, JD, Big B, and Jamal, who wins? So I guess 2-on-2. You, Big B, JD, Jamal. Who wins in pickup games, or if it's all one-on-one?
The four of us together, I like our chances. But if we play 2-on-2, I like our chances. I'll tell you, Big B and I, who's going to guard Big B? I'll take Big B on my team, and we got a shot. So, you know, the one great thing about our staff, there's ultra competitive, but they have a great feel. Part of his experience, part of who they are. And if I talked about all their games, they're all winners and they all have specific things to do. So yesterday we were on a Zoom. Our staff was on a Zoom with Sergius, I think I'm going to mess Cicarello, who is the Spanish national team coach, who's an assistant coach with the Toronto Raptors. And Sergio, you know, coached the Gasol brothers and so many pros, but the Spanish national team. And he coached Big B in Europe, and they won a Euro Cup. And he was telling us how good of a player Big B was. And he pretty much said, you guys really don't know how good this guy was. And Big B had a 12-year high-level European career, and of course, a year and a half in the NBA. So I'll take B on my team, and we'll go to work from there. I'm no dummy.
Hey, since you brought it up, how critical is having that element of competitiveness as you're building out there's a lot of things that goes into your culture, but how critical is that to sort of embrace those challenges and be competitive?
Greg, that's it. That's everything. I always said, I've said this before I even went to VCU as an assistant with Coach Smart. And of course, it totally solidified my thinking about VCU basketball and VCU in general. Is the number one trait of successful VCU players and teams is how competitive they are, and competitiveness in everything. Competitiveness to get better. Competitiveness when the scoreboard's on, in practice, a shooting game. I always said, you know why Joey Rodriguez was so good? Is when he was a freshman, those older guys, including Maynard and Jelly and Pella Rosa, they went at him. And for him to survive and want to be successful, he had to go back at them, and it created an unbelievable level of competitiveness. I've always said that's number one at VCU. Just like the CSL, you guys want to be the best. You're excited with your top 10 ranking, but you guys aren't done. You want to be the best. You want to compete to be number one. That to me, and that how I've been my whole life, the way I was raised by my mom and dad. My dad used to say, if the scoreboard's on, make sure you win. And there's nothing wrong with that. Compete at the highest level, but also compete with a level of humility too. And I think our guys do that. I think our staffs and the adults we have that show our, mentor our players are teaching our guys be as competitive as can be, have that swag, but have a high level of humility too.
All right, since we're talking about that, is there anybody on your team right now that could beat you in horse? ESPN's been televising these horse competitions. Is there anybody on your team that could beat you in horse?
Bones could really shoot it. So, I think JD Byers is a heck of a shooter too. And so he and Bones get out there a lot and they'll shoot together and they have some fun. So, a good shooter has great confidence. So I like to say no, but I am 48 right now and my range isn't like it used to be. So, but you know what? I have a 16-year-old here, an 11-year-old, and my daughter who's 14. We have a gym here at our house, so we're lucky. We get to shoot a lot and shoot at night. So my movement's not as good, but my jumper's still hanging in there. So I would go up against anybody, but I would have to show some humility as well.
Another great VCU alum and fan and supporter, our friend Kelly Garrison.
Oh, absolutely.
Kelly was asking, go back to Joey's 3 against Kansas after an earlier air ball. Right? Yeah. He asked, was that one of the gutsiest shots you've ever seen to take that 3 after you've airballed one?
But that play there, Kelly, you're right, man. That's Joey Rodriguez. We saw for 4 years. That's VCU basketball. That's the swag we had in that run in 2011. He comes down the court. They go under the ball screen. He shoots an air ball 3. He smiles on the way back, almost like, man, that ain't happening again. And then he comes down and makes this, Kansas is making a run, makes this huge, gutsy play. Like, that's not, the last play's not me. Watch this. And supreme confidence. And we all had supreme confidence in that play. And Joey, because he's done that before. And that's also playing with great freedom and playing with confidence that you're not looking over your shoulder at the coach when you make a mistake or something doesn't go your way. So, Kelly, you're right. That is one of the gutsiest VCU plays in VCU history, but that's J-Rod for sure.
Oh, great question, Kelly.
Yeah, I love that. Great memory, too. Great memory.
Oh, my God. It gives you goosebumps, right? Renee has a great question. As a coach, are you prepared for Logan to be scouted? And your son, Logan, who's in high school, and how will you approach it from the parent side?
Honestly, that will be more he and his mother, because I know what goes on. So when he gets scouted, or if the time comes and when he's fortunate enough to be recruited, probably very hands off. The one thing I learned through all this recruiting and how my parents were, they were never going to make the decision for me. Now, they were going to give me advice if that's a great situation, or advice on looking at it this way, or if that was a bad situation, and or maybe not what exactly that I needed. But my mom and dad were very hands off. And then when it was time to make a decision, they made me sit down and do the pros and cons of the schools I was looking at. And man, it made me realize, man, I'm making the right choice here. So I'll be more hands off. With Logan, I mean, right now, his Call of Duty game is really, can you get recruited for Call of Duty? He's got to keep working on this game, but he loves football too. My son loves football. He plays from some great coaches at Godwin, and he played on the varsity this year as a freshman. Coach Oliver, I think, is a great coach. He's around some great adults, great mentors. He's loving it. And so we'll see what happens. So he better finish his online work first before worry about basketball and football and Call of Duty.
I love it. That's great. That's great. Shannon Duvall, a great friend and our colleague in the VCU School of Business. Shannon asks, since you are a CSL alum, what advice do you have for our soon to be graduating CSL students, knowing that we have a very uncertain and unstable job market in the sport industry?
Well, yeah. And I just talked to one of our former players this morning about this great question, Shannon, the same thing. Don't be too high, don't be too low, because everybody's going to be going through this. So every day, try to do a little bit more to get some answers, see if there's what options are out there. And the biggest thing is, as I told one of our former players, and I'll tell everybody, you might have to take a job you really don't want right now. Make the best of it. Use that job to springboard to the next one. So as I always say, Greg, your plan never goes the way you plan it, but it's going to go. And just like us right now, recruiting or with our players or getting ready to have a great off season, well, that's upside down right now. So instead of be so worried about it, what can we control today? Let's handle it. Let's not be too high or too low, and know that we're going to have to go through some stuff to figure it out. You might have to take a job that, you think is beneath you right now. You know what? A lot of people in the world are going to do that. Let's do that. Let's make the best of it. Let's knock it out of the park. Then you have people that are going to support you on springboarding to the next one. And my dad used to say, never be too proud to dig ditches. Sometimes we got to dig ditches to get where we want to go, and don't be too, let's do it. And, there's nothing wrong with that, especially now of understanding that. So that would be my advice to anybody that's leaving, graduating right now, or lost a job and needs to look for another one, or grad student that think they're going to get their ideal job and it's taken away right now. Just hang in there and keep going and try to do a little bit every day to get closer to what you want to do.
Well said. Well said. Bobby Gary, hardcore VCU fan, alum, CSL alum, his dad, Ted Gary, great supporters of VCU. He wants to know, what's your favorite away arena in the A10, like the place you like to compete again and on the road?
Well, back in the day, it was definitely Old Dominion. There's nothing better than going in Old Dominion in all black and getting a win in a whiteout. So we've always enjoyed that, and I have great respect for Old Dominion's program and how they do things. So, but it was always a great rivalry game. Let's see. I mean, I think going to play at Dayton the last 2 years, what an awesome experience. That was really neat. St. Louis, when we played there our first year, and when Coach Majerus was there, we had some great battles there. Probably Dayton. I think the Rhode Island games have been really, pumped up that way. But the one thing I will say, every game that we go on the road is other team's Super Bowl, or they say it's their wide out, or it's already sold out, and we get there, they're not always sold out, and not everybody's in white. There's a lot of black and gold to ruin that white out. I love it. There's nothing better going on the road, walking any arena, and we have as many fans, or we have a lot of people in black and gold that are louder than the home fan. And that's my favorite thing. So, but I love going on the road with your team. That's always been something special to me, and take great pride in going to beat somebody in their own in their own arena. That's a big deal to us.
Things up, and maybe some final words to all the alumni and Ram Nation that's watching.
Yeah, to everybody listening and watching, I send all my thoughts and prayers to everybody. And what I tell our players every time I hang out with them, number one is be safe and be smart, stay healthy, and do your job, do your part in all of this. If we all do our part, we're going to get closer sooner to where we want to be and taking the next step here in life. So everybody be healthy, be safe, stay home, get on Netflix and get a walking, go fishing, watch some old games, do all that stuff. But make sure everybody's doing their part. And like I tell our players all the time, I love you. Be safe. And I can't wait to see you guys all soon.
Thanks so much to Coach. Thanks so much to our great friends at VCU Alumni for setting this up today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button on the Facebook page, leave us a comment. And again, we're going to hopefully schedule more of these as we move through the coming weeks and months. Thanks again, Coach, and all the Ram Nation out there supporting us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.